I'll mute everybody. So if you guys can, there we go. Mute. Yeah, just hit OK for record. Okay, welcome. Elevate team call. I was thinking, I wonder if anybody even knows why we named it Elevate. Like, what is that? Like, what is that about? Where did that come from? And really, our vision behind it, Megan and Phil and me and Rodney and Cheryl and all the people that pour into our team, was really to just elevate your life in general, not just your plexus business, not just your personal life, but to elevate both, to kind of come in and realize that the stuff that we're teaching actually improves you as a spouse. It improves you as a mom. It improves you as a sister or a brother or a friend. It improves your entire life and literally elevates you to a whole new level. And so that's the mission, that's the vision behind every call we have. So when you hop on here, I want you hopping on with expectation, because here's what I do know. When I would show up to listen to a call, it had nothing to do with the speaker and everything to do with me. Y'all know what I'm saying? It had nothing to do with the speaker and everything to do with me, because we can hear the same things over and over and over again. And sometimes we walk away and we feel like, oh man, I just feel like that's, going to be really hard to do, or I feel embarrassed, or I feel all these things. And sometimes we walk away literally feeling like we're on fire and nothing can stop us. It's not because a speaker was better than somebody else. I promise you. It's because we're showing up with a mindset of being willing to elevate ourselves. So I want tonight, we got a couple things we're going to talk about, but tonight I'm going to go into my wheelhouse of what I really love to share is on mindset. And I want to challenge you guys to fall in love with who you are. And I want you to challenge you to fall in love with your plexus business and where you want to be. Where do you want to be this time next year? I love that question. Cheryl had shared that with us from Daniel G. I think that's his name. She loves him. I can't remember his name now, all of a sudden. And it's such a great question. Where do you want to be in a year? I want you to drop it in the comments. I want you to come here participating. I want you to be on here when we're asking questions and just be like, I'm here for it. I want to elevate myself. I'm tired of hitting roadblocks and just falling off. I want to, or starting and stopping, right? Like even with the products, maybe you're like, I just want to stop starting and stopping. Anybody in that boat where you're like, I just want to have a different life. I want to have a different experience. I want to have more for my family. If that's you, I want you to raise your hand. I want you to do that, not for everyone else, but for you personally, to be like, I'm making a statement. I'm making a declaration that I want to elevate myself. Make that decision here, today, tonight, that you deserve more, you deserve better, and you are fully capable of doing so. So as you're writing these things down, where I want to be in a year, I want you to really quickly say to yourself, I want you to write down on a piece of paper. I want you to say it out loud to somebody. I want you to put it in the comments. I want you to, what is the first trigger that comes up? What is the first negative thought when you write down, I want to be Emerald. I want to inspire hundreds of other people through Plexus. I want to be Senior Ruby. I want to be Ruby. I want a better mindset. I want to believe in myself and be on my way to legacy of wealth. What is the first step that comes up for you guys? Somebody unmute and just tell me one of the things that's coming up for you.
I want to be Ruby, but I keep losing people.
Okay. So what is the trigger though of the thought of I'm going to do this? What is the first thought that you have?
That something's going to get in the way.
That something's, what's the something?
Circumstances.
Okay, Lisa, I appreciate your bravery, because I know some people are scared of me, I've heard. Are you scared of me, Lisa? Don't be scared of me. I'm really nice. But here's the thing. Okay, so I'm going to coach that question right now. And I want you guys to hear this, because I think this is so important. I want you to hear how amazingly, beautifully, wonderfully, perfectly created brains are, is called self-sabotage, right? So our brain, so she says to herself, I want to be XYZ. I want to be a senior Ruby and I want to have a bunch of people on my team and I want to be making an impact. And the first thought that she has is there'll be circumstances that get in the way. Can anybody else see how that is like our brain literally just protecting us, throwing something out there that doesn't even really make sense, right? It's kind of like just any circumstance could happen. And that comes from thoughts, that comes from old programming, that comes from really making that decision of, I want to step out and I want to be somebody different. Listen, we cling to our identities that we've decided who we are, right? We cling to who that is. We cling to the lifestyle we have. We cling to the amount of money that we think we deserve. We cling to these things so that when we're challenging it, our brain takes it negative. Even though we're challenging in a positive way, our brain's like, hold up, Lisa, what happens if you put yourself out there and you lose everybody? What happens if you put yourself out there and you fail? What happens if, right? And it starts throwing you all these what happens if negative. So I want you guys right here, right now, I'm teaching you something I paid $7,000 to learn. It's called a fear story. Run your fear story through. What happens? I lose people. Okay. What happens after that? Lisa, if everything falls apart and you lose everything, what happens after that?
I know I got to keep going and keep trying and call the next person.
Okay. But what really happens? Worst case scenario.
Oh, I quit.
And nothing changes.
Except my pocketbook.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, but nothing happens to us. Do you hear that answer? Is there's no physical harm. This isn't life and death, but I'm telling you, our brains are so amazing that I would call it bear in the woods, right? That bear in the woods feeling. It feels like, I remember Cheryl and I talked about this a lot because we both were always like, we don't want to message. We don't want to put ourselves out there and be like, hey girl, you're her plexus. Because there's this feeling of like, there's a bear in the woods that's going to come eat me. Like I literally remember when I had plexus on my car and I went to my homeschool co-op for the first time, I literally cried. I was like, this is it. I'm going to be stoned to death. People are going to think I'm crazy. Like I literally cried like a little baby. He was like, oh, they're not going to like me anymore. Right? There are fears that we have and it literally feels life or death. But I want you here tonight, right now, to play out your worst case scenarios with your ranks, with your goals. And what you're going to find 100% of the time is that it's not a big deal, that what you're so afraid of, right? They're not going to like me anymore. What would you say to your children if they came in and they're like, if I do something that betters me, betters my future, and is going to move my life forward and my friends make fun of me? What would you tell them? Would you tell them, you know what? They're right. Quit your dreams. Don't believe in yourself. Pack up your suitcase and come on home. This ain't going to work for you. No, you'd be like, hey sis, those are not your friends. Can I get an amen for that? Those are not your friends. Anybody who would ever dare hold you back are not your friends. That's why they tell us all the time, the sum of who you are is the average of the 5 people that you're around the most. That's who you are. Why? Because we're so easily influenced. So when back in the day, I was hanging out with people who maybe didn't want to do bigger things. They were fine being a one-income family. They were fine with struggling. They were fine with those options. I was not fine with those options. I knew I could do more. I knew I was capable of more. And here's the thing, my vision has grown and grown the braver and more confident I get, the more I work through those fear stories of really understanding that those circumstances, in quotation marks, that may or most likely won't happen are there to protect me, but they're there to slow me down and stop me. And so when you can remove those fears and you can remove those doubts of yourself, and really push yourself to that next level of thinking. And that's what I really want you guys to hear tonight. And it's really a large concept that has taken me personally. Now, everybody on here is very bright. So you guys will probably be like, oh, I get it, and move on. And I'll be like, well, it took me years to get this. Or it would really piss me off when people would say it. I'll just be honest, right? They're like, you've got to become a diamond. I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, I'm not going to become a diamond. Like, what does that mean? Like, just give me a checklist and tell me what to do. Because I've been programmed to go to school, to do my homework, to go get a job. But I sucked at 9-to-5 jobs. I quit every single one I ever had. Every time my parents went out of town, I quit my job. Why do you keep quitting your job? I'm like, I think I'm allergic. Like, I think I have a problem. I don't know. I'm not meant to work these kind of in these conditions. They're like the real world. I'm like, that's correct. So if you have a child who's like that, don't be hating on them. They're probably just very innovative and inspired to do bigger things. But I had to become someone who thought differently. I had to become somebody who thought higher thoughts. What does that mean? It means being self-aware of yourself. It means that when you're afraid to post, you post anyway. It means thinking, okay, I'm a little concerned to reach out to so-and-so, or right now I know I feel rejected, but what the higher truth is telling me is that it's just not their time yet. You got to think like a man. You got to take the emotion out of it, is basically what I'm telling you, right? And it's the truth. It's like really pulling yourself in and be like, worst case scenario. I remember Megan, I love that she's on here right now, but I remember Megan had called me. I hope you don't mind me sharing this story. And she's very upset. This woman was kind of mean. She was mean to Megan. I was about to like go down to Florida and like do some fighting, even though I'm not a street fighter, but I kind of felt like I was about to be. And she just tore Megan up. And Megan was just really upset. Phil called me. We were, both of us were talking to her. We're like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Megan had a choice in that moment. She had a choice in that season of time to be like, this woman matters to me. What she thinks of me matters to me. Those things are real, right? But we ran down the fear story. What's the worst thing that could happen? Do you think that Megan, for any split second, regrets being able to pay off her $100,000 in student loan debt, have, a husband who can stay home and work his job at home, and have a farm and live next door to her parents and live in a beautiful sunset farm in Tennessee? Do you think that she ever thinks, oh man, I just really wonder what Sister Linda is doing right now, and I really wish that I quit for Sister Linda? No, she never thinks that, right? But so often we give these people this power that has nothing to do with us. Linda was never mad at Megan. That's not even her name. I don't even remember her name, Karen. But it was never about Megan. It is never about you, right? The rejections, all those things. It's never about you. So learning to build your confidence and fall in love with who you are and just go out there and go for it takes self-awareness. And that's what we mean when it's like, become a diamond, become this person. You're thinking like a diamond. All that means is I'm willing to take the hard punches on the chin and know it's not about me. I'm willing to get back up when I fall down. I'm willing to go through a fear story and work through it and be like, okay, how can I see it? How can I see this differently? What a great question that I have learned. I would write down everywhere all over my house. What am I focusing on? Why am I feeling like this? Getting curious around the thoughts that you're having around building your business, right? So we're 7 days into February, and it's easy and tempting to think, or March, wrong month. It's easy and tempting to be like, well, so-and-so's on fire and they've already earned the iPad, or they're halfway. And now it's easy to be excited on March 1st. It gets more and more daunting as the month goes on. Why is that? Because our thoughts change. All of a sudden, it's like, we have no time. I have no time. I'm running out of time. I've got a message. We start to panic because we don't have time. And so I want you guys to be aware of those thoughts that are popping up for you. if you changed your thoughts? How could you see things differently tonight? How could you look at your objections that you wrote down and see them differently? It will feel different in your body. It will feel different to your heart. It will feel different to your mind, and you will stay motivated longer. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready. My turn. All right. Hey, everybody. I'm going to be short and sweet tonight. I got something I want to talk to you guys about. It's piggybacks right on what Alita said. It's all
He
about.
drew posters.
I didn't draw a poster.
Well, it is. That's a poster. Okay, sorry.
You're taking my time.
I know.
So I want you guys to just close your eyes. All right, everybody close your eyes. All right, go all the way back to 6th grade. I don't know if you remember 6th grade, but you have this class. It's called physical science. My teacher was Mr. Threet. He was also my football coach. He taught us about energy, that an object either has what's called kinetic energy or potential energy. Kinetic energy is when an object is moving. Potential energy is when an object is at rest. And he taught me, because I didn't quite get this, he taught me, he said, Rodney, he said, if I put a rock at the top of a ramp, he said, the rock rolling down the hill has pretty much the same energy as the rock sitting at the top of the ramp. But one's called kinetic and one's called potential. The rock sitting at the top of the ramp has just as much energy as the one rolling down the ramp. He said, but it takes more work to on the rock to get it from potential energy to kinetic than it takes to get that rock rolling down the hill. It takes very little work to keep it rolling. So once you get into motion, it takes little work to keep going. It's getting started. So what I'm going to talk about is that motivating factor. What gets us moving? What moves us from potential to kinetic? You know, if you ever tried to steer a parked car, pretty hard. When you get that baby up to about 80 miles an hour, it'll go where it wants to go because it's in motion. So how do we get in motion? So what Alita's talked about is one of the biggest things in the business that we're in is fear. Fear of things going bad, things getting off the rails, people saying no, people saying negative things about you. You know, fear that it might not work, fear that it might work for others and not work for us. All kinds of fear. And so fear is a demotivator, right? And so how do we get that motivation? How do we get motivated? And you all hear people about, you need to be a self-starter. You need to be, you know, all these things. And whether you're, this applies to anything in life, whether like right now, I'm doing this thing called 75 hard. And I'm telling you, it's taken a lot of motivation to keep it going. It's 2 workouts a day. It's getting up when I don't want to. It's watching what I eat. It's doing all these things. The results have been amazing, but it's taken a lot of motivation to stay on it. So motivation, how do we get there? How do we figure out our motivation? It's different for everybody. It's different for me than it is Alita. It's different for Cheryl than it is Megan. It's different for everybody across the board. Well, when you think about motivation, this is my poster. Can everybody read this?
You can open your eyes.
Yeah, you can open your eyes. Sorry, I assumed everybody had. I was looking at everybody. All right. Needs times belief equals motivation. And this is what I think about anytime in life there's something that I don't want to do. Whether it's call a construction contractor, I do a little construction on the side, call a trade, whether it's get on a treadmill or whether it's go to about the 15th million basketball game on a Saturday. I run this through my head constantly. What is my need? Why am I doing this? You got to figure that out. Is it because you want the respect of your peers? Is it because you want to make $200 extra a month? Is it because you want to buy a lake house? Is it because you want to retire your husband? Clear, defined needs. You can call them wants too, but needs has a more urgency about it. Throughout my life, I've worked for different goals. someday maybe Alita will give me a chance. I can give you guys a little breakdown of my background and where I come from and things like that. But keeping an active vision in front of you of what you want, what your needs are, go to your diamond and have them print off a pay stub and tape that thing to your refrigerator. Write your goal on your bathroom mirror. So every morning when you brush your teeth, you have to look through your goal, that thing that you want more than anything, and define your need. And the second step is belief. And it's cheesy and corny, but I just want to read the definition of the word belief. Belief is an acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists. So whenever you say, I want to be Ruby, I want to be Diamond, you have to believe that in your heart. You have to claim the unseen as if it's already seen. Mm-hmm. And that's where mindset comes in. It's like selling out to yourself, selling out to your dream, believing that nothing can stop you from getting your goal. Alita and I took a glamorous Jeep ride up to the co-op to get some grass seed today and was on the way back. And I said, do you know what the opposite of winning is? Like winning a game or winning something? Do you know what the opposite is? And she wouldn't answer because she knew I was setting her up. And I said, so tell me what 99% of people would say if I said, tell me the opposite of win. She said, they'd say lose. And I said, it's not. Does anybody know what the opposite of winning is or the opposite of win is? Who knows it? Nicole, I see you saying something.
Learning.
Close. The opposite of winning is quitting. If you don't quit, you'll never lose. And that's what belief is. Belief is no matter how bad a day, because things are going to happen. You're going to get embarrassed. There's going to be people that quit on you. That's just going to happen. But the belief that no matter what, I'm here. My flag has been planted. You take that belief every day, you multiply it by your needs, the thing that you want more than anything, and that's where your motivation comes from. That's what will get you up at 4:30 in the morning and get on a stinking treadmill and walk or whatever it is. It'll make you message that person you're afraid of, that sweaty palm person. But having clear, defined needs, meeting a clear, firm belief is where your motivation comes from. And it'll get you through anything in life, no matter what it is, whether it be a plexus thing, a marriage thing, a job thing. Clear, defined needs, your wants, needs, and desires multiplied by your belief will give you motivation. That's all I got.
So good. So good. And that's, yeah, and we'll wrap up with this, is that is what makes people keep going. That is becoming a diamond. That is becoming Ruby. That is becoming Emerald. That is becoming who you want to be. Is believing so much that's like, I'm willing to put this out here because whether I go Emerald in a year or whether it takes me 2 years, I'm going Emerald. So it's going to happen. So I'm not going to fail. I know this to be true. I know this to be true. So true, deep in my bones somewhere. I know this is true. So I don't really have anything to fear. It's like when something comes up, I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to get coached. I'm going to learn something new and I'm going to grow to the next level. It's when we feel like, I don't know if I can actually do this, that quitting ourselves or not really pushing ourselves, or rather doing laundry instead of doing plexus, or watching TV instead of doing, that's when those decisions get harder and harder. The motivation sticks around when it's like, yeah, this is a non-negotiable for me. Like, I'm going Emerald in a year. I'm going double diamond in this year. Whatever those goals are, it's like, if that's your belief, you're going to show up in such a different way. You're not going to have to ask yourself, well, what do I say to sip and see? What do I do? You're just going to do it because well, no time like the present, right? It's like John Maxwell says, jump and grow your wings on the way down. That's how you grow. That's how you learn. You cannot just sit and read books, right? You have to get out there and actually put yourself in the field and actually try things and actually see what it feels like to speak from a stage, to share the business with somebody. Everybody has first times in doing those things, right? Scared first times.
Yeah. Diamonds and jewels in this business are no different than anybody else. They've just done more reps. That's it. The work doesn't change. It's recruiting, it's sharing, it's selling product. It's the same things over and over again. It's teaching, it's training. Everyone here is doing the same work that a diamond does. It doesn't change. It's just a diamond's done more reps. They've, instead of taking that rejection and stopping, they take that rejection and keep moving forward. It's a motivator, the old chip on the shoulder motivation, you know, because if you convince yourself and you believe that you've already won the game, like how many of you have seen a movie and you know the ending? Nothing shakes your tree in that movie. You know now how grim it looks for our characters. You know how it's going to end. It's going to end happy. You know the ending, so the middle doesn't quite matter as much, but you still got to go through the middle to get to the end. It's not, if you're claiming that you're a diamond, you have that rock hard belief, you know, and you know what you want. It doesn't matter what happens. Just don't quit. Keep doing the reps and it will happen. When you least expect it, it'll happen.
Yeah, that least expected part is very true. I remember when Megan signed up under the wrong, or Cheryl, yeah, Megan signed up under the wrong Cheryl altogether for months, and we didn't even know. Very unexpected, right? So belief is the most important thing. It really, really is. So take the time, go through your fear stories, apply the things that you're learning from these. But remember, our heart, our mission, our vision for these calls is to literally elevate you to do what you want to do, to be successful in your life, to be a better parent, a better spouse, a better friend, a better person, a better you. Your best you that you can be is to elevate all those parts of us. So we love you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to hop on here tonight. Pour that time into you, invest this time into you. It is so special. It really is. It's special that you guys are doing this for yourself. So I appreciate you. We love you, and we'll see you next week.